Welcome to Akinworld Trading Institution. Um, we'll be looking at the Euro futures chart this morning to dissect what is ahead of us in the coming week. We'll be looking at the Euro chart, the USDDXY, that's the dollar index, and some other futures charts to analyze what is currently happening in the financial market from the fundamental point of view and the technical point of view. So currently, on a 3 month candle, 3 months candle, and you could see that if you are to do a top-down analysis from the 3 month candle down to what is happening currently, we see that we just contacted a supply zone, and for 9 months now, the market has been ranging in that area. Why I came here, why I used the 3 months chart is so that you see that um to get the overall picture of what is happening in the market, like just to get the overall picture of what is happening. This supply zone is a critical supply zone, and it doesn't really happen over time, whereby the market should just um shy off major zones like this. So currently, you will notice that we've been ranging on the monthly time frame, going up and down, up and down, up and down. So seeming like the market doesn't have a direction yet, but it does have. So you notice that we contacted a supply zone here, right? Contacted the supply zone here, and it has been the drop. It has been the reason for the drop all this while. And currently, like I always say, fundamentals drives price. If there is no fundamental support to for a currency to begin to sell or buy, it will just keep doing whatsoever it wants to do on the chart for so many years. But once there is fundamental backup to what it's doing, what I mean is that when your technical analysis aligns with what is happening fundamentally, then you have 90% win rate. I feel like your analysis would be very, very accurate because the institutions, that is the market participants and all, you people are looking at the chart and the financial markets from the same point of view. So currently now, we have to do a technical analysis on what is currently happening. So when you like I always tell my students, you don't have to overcomplicate the financial markets. You don't have to overcomplicate what is happening here. I use this um chart, the monthly chart, to just get the overall direction of where the market is headed. Yeah, to get the overall direction of where the market is going to. And if you look at this particular chart, it is looking as though the market is has been ranging as if it doesn't have a direction yet, as if it doesn't have a clear direction of where it is going to. So for the past or for 2 months now also, the market has been dropping to the downside. And remember, market moves from zone to zone, from one particular price to another particular price, major price. They drive price from one level to another. So now we're looking at we've noticed that the market has been ranging, so we just have to map out our zones, the supply zone, the demand zones, you get, so that we know how and where to step into the market in order to get something out of the market. So looking at the chart from the weekly time frame, you'll notice that we have um, a supply zone, no mistaken, a supply zone just, sorry, I mean, I don't know why this coming. I don't know why this thing is not working, but no problem. So we'll have to be mapped out a supply zone just around here. A supply zone just around here. Now, told you that markets move from zones to zone, and currently, if we are getting a rejection off of this probably demand zone here, when we scale down to the daily time frame, you find out that we have, I think, a demand zone about here, around here, and some around here. You'll notice that for the weekly time frame, we got a rejection that made us closed um, below, sorry, above um, this weekly demand area. And when we move down to the daily time frame, what we do on the weekly chart is to map out strategic zones. You get strategic zones for reversals. So we understand that from the overall picture, from the 3 months candle, we notice that the market is strengthening towards the downside. We enter the major supply zone, and the market has been finding it difficult to rally above that demand supply zone. We enter the supply zone, and the market has been finding it difficult to move up from there. So what we'll do now is to look for a strategic supply zone where we can enter the market, then scale to, sorry, how will I put it? Then sell to the downside in order to get something off the market. So we'll be looking at this supply zone here, this supply zone here. We got a push into a demand zone then before this sharp drop to the downside. So we have our supply zone just around here. And when we move down to, I'm not seeing anything tangible on the daily time frame. Sorry, the weekly time frame for demand area. So when we scale down to the daily time frame, we would see where we can get or map out a nice demand zone. Okay, 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 okay. I think this is the supply zone I was talking about, and here we have some demand zones. We have a demand zone around here. We also have a demand zone around here. But I feel like this demand zone has been altered. So we'll use this demand zone for now. You understand? And there is a supply zone around here. Around here. So we might be using this extended leg, but it depends. This market has not gone very, very far. So I feel like when the market reverses into this area, I don't know what's wrong with this thing, into this area of supply. coming as well. So into this area of supply, we want to look for a way to sell to back to the downside. And when you look at this from the from the daily time frame, we are currently in a demand zone, right? Yeah, we are currently in a demand zone. So we want to look forward to not sell for now. Yet we want to look forward to not sell for now. The market is ranging, has been ranging up and down, up and down. So it is currently down here. We're expecting the market to push into this area of supply during the week. So I got a sell from around here down to this point, then before leaving, I took some profit around here as well. So but now we want to sell off from here down again. You get into the market around here, look for a good supply zone. I think this place is a good supply area to sell. And for now, this place is still a manageable demand zone for the market to for it to push the market back into our supply area. So that is that for that. When we scale down probably to the 4 hour chart, let me see, 4 hour chart, the 4 hour chart. So I don't know what's wrong with my tool. Supposed to work well. I don't know. Well, okay. This area of supply, this area of supply is where we are looking to get into the market. So I will just due to sorry for the inconveniences I'm facing. I don't really know why it's not coming up. Well, I just have to make this video and I don't have time. So nothing is about to stop me. Um, you have this supply area here. This is the other, or should I say, this is the supply zone we'll be working with. This is the supply zone we're working with. Just from here down to this point, this is our supply area. So whenever the market moves back into our supply area, we want to look forward to shorten the market down, 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 down. So that is all I'm seeing on the Euro futures chart. Euro futures charts for now. I think when we look at the dollar, also the dollar is currently sitting inside a supply zone. You get supply zone, and you see that we've been having rejections upon rejections in this area. You understand? So the I think the dollar triggered moved up with all of the spike due to what is happening currently in the Middle East. May the good Lord help them to resolve all of the war and all. We don't want to experience war. So, amen. So, we'll be looking at this zone, and from what I'm seeing currently on this zone, we would have to probably move or sell off this to the downside. And now what you notice is that whenever there is economical uncertainties, people tend to secure their portfolios, and by so doing they will want to buy the dollar, buy safe haven assets to secure their portfolio, to secure their money. Nobody wants to lose money. So by so doing, due to what is currently happening, fundamentally I feel like the dollar will be in high demand. High demand. Currently, if we would look at the dollar, or yeah, if we look at what is happening in on the futures charts. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Currently, if you look at the economical indicators of the euro, sorry, of the dollar index, if you look at the economical indicators, we will notice that the inflation is stepping down, and the Fed also is not about to cut rates. So we have a stable economy. I feel like we have a stable economy for now. And why I'm saying this is because due to the demand that will be coming in for the dollar over time, would I feel like this all of these zones would um be holding, and they are good zones for a reversal again to the upside. So that is what I'm seeing currently on the the XY, the dollar index, the dollar index. And when you look at the pounds, the pounds, it has a pounds also, the pound also is looking juicy. I think he contacted the euro chart is also similar to this, and when you look at this chart from the monthly um, point of view, you notice that it was moving up like this. One, two, three. We had three good months candle moving towards the upside until when it contacted a supply area just around here and reversed back again. So ever since then, we've been ranging in that area, just like what I explained in with the euro charts. So we've been moving up and down. So currently, we I think we contacted a demand area around here, pushing the market back to the upside, but we don't want to. Although, if you cannot wait for a sell, you can also place your buy orders just from around here. Get a good demand zone around there. You can place your buy orders to the upside. Currently, what I'm seeing on the euro, on the pounds chart, is that when you look at the market from around here, I think we have a supply zone also around this area, off of this area. When we move down to the daily time frame, we would see it clear. Okay, I think we have a good supply area just around here, and some around here. So when this market reverses into this supply zone, this supply area here, so we want to be using this supply area. Once the market gets into the supply area, we want to have a push back to the downside. Again, remember the dollar is fundamentally strong. When you look at the um, employment rate and the GDP of the United States, their inflation data stepping down and like is under control, it's coming into control or under control. And look at their interest rate. All of these things are actually becoming more stable in the United States. And I know when you have all of these data to be stable, it doesn't just um, affect the financial market immediately, but over time. That is why you see all of this up and down movement. But whenever there is economical uncertainties, you will notice that, or when that there's a fundamental um, or should I say economical issue that is aligning with what is happening on the chart, you will notice that all of this move can just start. The dollar can just begin to appreciate over time because it has not really gotten a fundamental reason to why it should strengthen. You understand? But what I'm looking at currently from the December that's December 2025 data for the United States, it came out for their GDP came out to be 4 point, I think 4.4. So 4.4 within 4.4 or 4.3. And that is very, very, very good. So but due to the governmental lockdown, the January data came out to be 1.4. But that is to say that the dollar is strengthening. Understand? So now that they are off from the what's it called? The since they've called off the governmental lockdown or shutdown, it is going to it's a sign that come something is happening to the dollar underneath that nobody is actually really looking at. It's just going to take us by surprise. Bam, it will just begin to move. But when you have fundamental insights to what is happening on the happening in the global economy and what is happening, if you can align it with the chart and the timing and all, although this will take you time, you understand, you have to be experienced to know that this is how it works. When there is inflation in a country, it doesn't just affect. Inflation started um, on a particular day in an economy, but it didn't just affect everybody at the same time. Probably want to let's say we want to divide all of them into three classes: the lower class, middle class, and the higher class in the economy. Whenever there is inflation, I feel like it starts from somewhere. It's probably the lower class before the middle class, then before the higher class. Now, when the inflation really hits everybody, you will notice that their spending would probably reduce, or the government will begin to look for areas to probably increase interest rates in order to curb inflation and all of those things and all of those things and all of those. So now by so doing, you have to synchronize what is happening in the economy with what is happening on the chart so that you will not be a victim or you will not be doing something that your chart is not saying or saying. You should be able to interpret what the chart is saying fundamentally and technically to align what they are doing or what they are saying together at the same time. Okay, so what we'll be doing next is think the yen, the yen. So I'm looking forward to We have a good demand area just around here, a very, very good demand area just around here. So if the dollar would lose strength for now, I think we should buy this guy. We should buy the um Japanese yen. Japanese yen just back to the upside. I think it's undervalued currently. You understand, undervalued currently. The sentiments for this market should be very, very high. That is buying it to the upside. You understand? Buying it to the upside, just back to this area. Just back to this area before the dollar will begin to gain strength. That is if you are buying the Japanese yen against the United States dollar. So that is that for now. Okay. So this is the Swiss franc futures. Swiss franc futures also already contacted the demand area and is already reacting off that demand area, pushing back to the upside. When we look at this market from a monthly perspective, what are we seeing? Also kind of ranging, but still has um okay, currently now it is ranging. Currently now it is ranging. And I think all of these markets that have been traded against the dollar have something in common for now. So when we look at it from the weekly time frame, from the weekly time frame, mm, okay, weekly time frame still ranging, but we have a very good demand area just below here. I think we had a demand supply area around here too. So it is reacting off of this guy back to the upside, back to the upside. If you look at it, we had a good supply area around here the market reacted to it. That around this area reacted once, yeah, I think second time again, and currently the market is reacting off of this probably supply area that was um removed, that was not respected, is okay respecting it now back to the upside. So when we look at this chart and we've looked at the futures chart, and now when we look at this chart from this point, you would notice that I said from the euro chart that we are moving into the supply area, then we look for a sell, blah blah blah. So that is what I'm currently seeing on the futures charts for now. And I think we should look at these guys. These guys. Australian dollar, AUD USD, AUD USD. I feel currently the Australian dollar is crowded. I think among the G7, its interest rate is the highest, around 3.85, and it is really crowded. A lot of institutions are buying from the non-commercial. That's looking at when you look at the COT data, a lot of institutions are buying it currently, pushing it to the upside. So when you look at the chart from a perspective, monthly perspective, you notice that this guy is just pushing to the upside, and although currently it's triggered a supply area around here, currently still triggered a supply area around here, and also this is a good supply area, but it didn't react off, it didn't respect it. So I am hoping that by the time this market will come back, would also, should I call it a flip zone, will also react off this area, off around this area, probably to push the market to the upside before the dollar would strengthen against it heavily. But I feel like the Australian dollar, United States dollar would drop. Why I'm saying this is not as if you don't feel what's going to happen in the market. You you analyze the market due to what is happening fundamentally. In the economy, we have what we call risk on, risk off. And when we are in the risk on era, it is when the economy is not in not facing any um issue, and we are the economy is just probably moving fine, everybody's spending and all. So investors tend to put their money in um to do business. People do businesses, import stuff, export stuff and all, when we are in the risk on era. So but whenever there is geopolitical uncertainties, or whenever there is war also, people tend to safeguard their portfolio. And when you look at the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the um, Canadian dollar, these are what we call commodity currencies. They are, whenever we are in the risk on area era, you will notice that investors tend to put more of their money to use. So they get to buy the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar due to um business purposes. Think Australian dollar is the largest producer of iron ore. So and we have China to be their biggest participant. So by so doing, when there is economical uncertainties, people don't really go out to spend. They want to safeguard their portfolio, they want to buy the dollar, they want to be sure that everything is fine before they begin to spend again. And now, when due to what is happening in the Middle East, you notice that come on now, many people just want to just safeguard their portfolio and all. This has happened over and over again and all. So, but currently we are not just going to just sell the Australian dollar and just keep quiet. So what we'll do is that we'll look for a demand area for now. The Australian dollar is still strong, so we'll look for a demand area on the weekly, okay, on the daily chart. So I think we'll be using this demand area again. The market should, let me go down to the 4 hour chart, sorry. this is wait, this is AUD USD, but I feel like on the futures chart, we already triggered that demand zone coming. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. You see, this is why we use the futures chart very well. On the futures chart, we already triggered um this demand zone once, but on the okay here on the chart here against the USD, you would okay against the USD, you will notice that it has not gotten into the demand zone yet. You understand? So when you trade with the futures chart, you understand that you get more opportunities to buy and know when the right time and how to buy. So we want to look at this demand zone, this demand area again. Once we look at this demand area again, if the market should reverse into this demand area, we want to pick a buy. You understand? To the upside, probably around here. Let me look for a good supply area where we can't sell off. I think this supply area should be fair enough. Fair enough. So with your good risk to reward, I think this should give you a good risk to reward for about 1:4 or 5, and that's really really good. That's really really good. So this is the NZD USD chart as well. So from the monthly time frame, we notice that for about 2 months now, the um um NZD. Okay, let me use the future chart, please. The futures chart for NZD. For about 2 months now. You notice that we've been pushing to the downside. We've been pushing to the downside, and we think contacted the demand area on um a monthly candle. But yes, then we should look for a way to a place to sell from. When we look at this supply area here, we have a supply area just around here. We have a supply area just around here. So I would patiently, patiently, I would patiently wait for this market to probably get into this demand area. Then when it pushes back to this supply area just around here, then I'll have to sell the market back to the downside. To the downside. So if we have a push to the upside into the supply area again, I think would have to probably sell this guy back to the downside, or also this supply area here, the supply area here. to get what is ours out of the market. Profit is yours in the market. Ensure that as you're trading, you're making money. You see, you don't have to overcomplicate the forex market, and just know how to take responsibilities for your trades. For your trades. In the financial market, you cannot be right at all time. You understand? This is the market that over I don't know how many millions of people that trade the market every day. So you don't just analyze your own market and feel like everything should just work the way you want it to work. No. What you want to do at best is that you want to align yourself with what is happening in the financial market. Look at that's how we use the fundamental analysis to back up what we are doing so that you will not be trading against the institutions. Who are the institutions? The institutions are the big boys, the big players in the market. They have large funds and you want to do what they are doing. Understand? When you look at these guys now, for instance, um, the for I think for the forex chart, we'll be looking at the non-commercials, and when you look at, let me just work with the percentage. Let me just work with the percentage. We have around for the New Zealand dollar. You notice that a lot of institutions are shorting this guy. We have around 59.8% of them, you understand, has to short the this guy. So around 58%, 59% of the institutions wants to short this man back to the downside, and just 16% are actually buying it. But when you look at the Australian dollar, I told you that it is crowded. It has a lot of institutions long in this guy. They want to buy it due to some things that are happening in the economy. Do you understand? The economy is just recovering from a risk on era. Understand? The war in the Middle East is yet to really affect the Australian dollar. It doesn't just affect it immediately. Understand? It happens over time. Understand? It happens over time. So people would begin to stop spending and begin to save their money. So when we look at safe haven assets like Swiss franc, the yen, and the dollar, probably the euro. So you have them strengthen in this period. Understand? But more of the dollar, more of the franc, and the yen. Understand? Strengthen in this era. So due to the fact that they've proven over time to have um, strengthened during economical uncertainties, they've proven over time that they have a very good economy to that withstands war and all. So you want to align yourself with what the institutions are doing, what the institutions are doing. So when you look at the dollar, you notice that it is also recovering from its own shock. From the we have around 50.4 longs and 67.1 shorts. Understand? It's really recovering. And due to what is happening, you know that over time the long would increase over the shorts. Understand? The long would increase over the shorts due to what is happening currently. The euro area, we have the euro around the euro is also still um, strengthening, and it has a lot of buys and all. For now, it has a lot of buys. So, so when you use the COT data, it's advisable when we look at what the non-commercials alone are doing. The non-commercials alone are doing. Okay. The longs and the shorts versus the shorts. So when we look at the longs versus the shorts, you will notice that the dollar is 42% strong and 57% um, short. So when you look at all of these things, you will notice that currently they are still down. So that's why I'm saying that you can bank with um selling the the USD for now, just within this period, you understand, before it will begin to align fundamentally with what is happening in the market. You understand? Sorry, in the global economy. So by the time it begins to align itself with what is happening in the global economy, you will know that you will now be um that is when you'll be around here. You understand? If you notice around that period or so and look at the data that's come, it is beginning to align with what I'm doing. Then you can take your shots down. So you understand? Back to the downside. You just want to just trade with what is happening fundamentally and look for when it is the right time to do that, or take your actions when is the right time to take your actions on the chart. So I think with this viewpoint of mine, I've tried to establish with us what is currently happening um, in the financial market. Welcome to Akinworld once again, and have a blessed trading week.